The Avernus Hunts within Neverwinter can be one of the most profitable places within this game, grinding out some of this best gear, and it still remains to this day as some of the best gear, including this Bone Devil's Ribcage. However, with Module 23, be warned there will be a new ribcage down the line, at least a new gear piece with the same bonus, and that might outdate this current ribcage depending on the difficulty to obtain it. But that aside, you can still obtain this really good gear now, and nothing appears to be going to replace the Goristro horns or the Wisps of the Shadow Demon, and these pieces of gear are still really good. And how do you go to obtain them? Well, I would advise going through my series where you can see the different maps with the different hunt mobs. You're going to have to first get their trophies. Here we have the Stygian Dock, and I've just recently made the Scab, and I'm making this episode for this reason. And then we also have the Avernus Wasteland mapped out. I still have yet to do the Harriman's Hill area. Now, it's a tiered system wherein the first hunts you'll want to be getting your trophies and then creating these lures for the bosses, and then you'll go from there getting the trophies from those bosses all the way up to the max, and each of those bosses will drop different gear pieces. As of now, I'm just going to go into the map for the Scab area, where you will be grinding out these trophies, these traps from the Searing Hezrou. You can see each of the spawn locations there displayed on my map. To go more in depth, we are now here in the Scab, and I shall show the path that I take and each of those spawn locations so you can see it in real. Similarly, like all of the other hunts within Avernus, you will have to kill those certain enemy types to spawn the Hezrou. So you will have to be killing normal Hezrou in order for Searing Hezrou to actually appear. So what you do then is you kill these groups of enemies to allow those normal Hezrou to spawn. So I believe they can spawn one in that group. We kill these guys as well, and then just down here we can kill these guys too. And then we have another group here and another just down here. You can see one of those normal Hezrou have spawned, and when we kill it we have a chance to spawn the Searing Hezrou. And I believe you have to kill a certain amount of these normal Hezrou in order for the Searing to spawn. Now normally there should be one where I'm standing right now. You can see that on the map, just located down here. Unfortunately, something happened where this guy died or despawned, I'm not sure, but I have all of the other ones spawned in. We can travel up here, and here you have the Searing Hezrou, and he's again located just up here, and we can go and kill him off, and hopefully he drops us one of those traps. Unfortunately, he doesn't. There are rumors are going around that you should essentially kill them with at-wills. This group of enemies doesn't seem to spawn any Hezrou, no matter how many times I kill them. This group can spawn a normal Hezrou, and then you can get a Searing Hezrou to spawn just over here. We'll test, we'll kill him with at-wills. Still no drop. Ideally, what you want to do is you want to go around in a group. Not in a party, but just as a group on a voice call, or you would call each other what locations are here, and then you would be in, let's say, a queue chat, and you would say to gather up or not. This group can also spawn a normal Hezrou, so kill these guys all the time, and then the groups over either side here. This guy can spawn a Hezrou, you can see he's just there, and then there's this group here which will also spawn a Hezrou on a chance, and we can see we can get a Searing Hezrou to spawn just here as well. Kill this guy off, a little bit slower this time, but still no luck on any drops. I really want them to improve the drops to be a bit more like Chult. When you kill the bosses, then you actually have 100% drop their trophy, so you can move on to the next one much more easier. This group can also spawn a normal Hezrou, and then we just have to double back a bit. We have another group just over here, and again you can check my map for each of those locations. We went to the top one up here, we went to this one, and we went to this one. We killed those guys, we killed these enemies, and these groups of smaller enemies like these maniacs don't seem to spawn any Hezrou. Same with the group of enemies that would spawn just there. I think we killed them accidentally, but here we have another Searing Hezrou spawn just on this little kind of island area with these ugly blobs. Again, that's just on the map just over here. Again, that's just another small group of enemies. You won't get a Hezrou there, but you can get one just on this side. And of course, depending on your damage, it might take you a bit longer to kill the groups of enemies. So you might want to do this in a party. This game is a party game. Here we have another normal Hezrou. So you are definitely incentivized, especially in these hunts, to go around as a party. Ideally, we would have separate instances, and thus we could farm these mobs like I can do on the previous server here without worrying people coming and killing my hunt enemies. We have another Searing Hezrau up here. We'll just go and kill him and then see if he drops. No, wow, we are significantly unlucky whenever we record, and that was that spawn just up there. Now that group of enemies just over here, they don't seem to spawn normal Hezrau either, so not much point killing them. This group does, and you may have another group by this angel just here. They are in fact here, they're just invisible, and you may sometimes get even your party of devils spawning in, and you might actually want to kill them, or they might kill some of your Hezrau, your normal Hezrau, or even your Searing Hezrau hunt mobs. But they will fight each other and they'll take some time to get anywhere, so usually you can kill them fairly easily. And then our very last Hezrau spawn spot is just here. You can see him there. He spawns right next to these more elite enemies. They have a bunch more hit points, and then we can go and kill this Hezrau as well. You might actually want to kill that group of enemies there on a regular basis, because they can also spawn a normal Hezrau. So we went around and we killed each of those Hezrau in those spawn locations, and we didn't even get one Searing Trap. That's how low the drop chance is on these trophies, and it's really annoying. And to get those guys to spawn, we spent over 2 hours actually just killing groups of these enemies, getting those normal Hezrau and so on. So it was quite a grind, and then to make that map as well. Hopefully it does help you guys out to make it a little bit easier for you guys to be able to find where they spawn and so on. Now, the first boss that you will get by combining a gore covered chain with a shattered trap from a Hezrau will get you that demon, which can get you the wisps of the shadow demon. So it is definitely an incentive for tanks to be on this grind, and they might want some friends to help them out with it. And ultimately, if you're going for tier 3, then this is going to be part of the grind that you're going to need to do. Of course, you can buy a bunch of those trophies with favors as well, but they're actually pretty expensive. So with that said, we've gone over each of those locations where those Searing Hezrau do spawn. And again, just keep in mind, you need to kill normal Hezrau in order for the Searing to spawn. So don't be a jerk and go camp one of these locations and go AFK, because you're just leeching off somebody else who's killing the normal Hezrau for you. Overall, Avernus Hunts can be a very toxic place, and I would really like them to implement private instances for these hunts. Maybe at a cost to do that, but at least for people who are grinding this solo, private instance would help a lot. But I can see why they wouldn't bother, because it's supposed to be a game you play with your friends and party members, but with player bases dwindling as they are now, it just gets harder and harder, and you just get singular parties who will dominate a certain area, farm out these things, and then make a ton of astral diamonds of this. So if you wanted to do that too, the more people that come here, the more instances that will open up, so you will get more areas where you can farm, and you might then have one group here farming in the Scab, you might have another one at the Stygian Dock, another one up here at Harriman's Hill. And overall, again, the gear from Avernus Hunts is still really good, namely the Bone Devil's Ribcage, Gristro Horns, Wisps of the Shadow Demon. These boots with power are really good for healer as well, along with these Arms of Last Resistance. There are a few more special case gear pieces here as well that can be used. Otherwise, the gear from the Vault of Stars is also really good there, but nothing competes right now with the Bone Devil's Ribcage until potentially Module 23. And even with that, I don't believe these hunts will come outdated, because the difficulty of Avernus Hunts with power creep is only going to get easier, and I believe at some point they're going to make the drop rates just as easy as within Schult, especially when people keep asking for it. So again, this is part 3 with the map of the Scab, where you can farm these Hezrau. I know there are a few interrogators, or there is one interrogator spawn point just up here at the Styx Lord outpost. We can make a check real quick, and he should spawn somewhere around here, but I believe you need to kill Succubus and Incubus for him to spawn. But he will look like in my Stygian Dock map, this interrogator, and he drops that sword. So again, I'd like to give a massive thank you to all of my channel members for helping me keep my channel going. And if I presented this well, consider leaving the video a like. And if you're new around here, consider subscribing. We'll see you guys around. Goodbye for now.